Hello and welcome to hashtag Insane Friends. It's Wednesday night again, 7:30. We're here every Wednesday night at 7:30. Hello and welcome to hashtag Insane Friends. It's Wednesday night again, 7:30. We're here. There. How about that?
I've been busy today.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Well, on this show, we like to do things about sales and management and hang out with our hashtag Insane Friends. And tonight we're going to be revealing how much money we've made last month on our eBay store and other online endeavors. We're also going to go over, as we always do, the hashtag Insane Friends live calendar, the cooperative of lives. There's over 11 channels involved in 9 different cities and 2 countries. We're going to be going over some of Zig Ziglar's stuff, the late Zig Ziglar and his teaching and sales.
Yeah.
And we're also going to shout out like we do on our other channel, Sane Auto, which is all about automotive stuff. We're still going to shout out our automotive events because we do like to help the children's charities and the veterans charities that these car shows and cruise-ins support. We like to help them get as much traffic as they can to help out as many children and veterans as they can. So first of all, we hit that live stream calendar with all our hashtag Insane Friends and shout them out. You can come and hang out with us every Wednesday night or our other channel, Sane Auto, every Sunday night. And with all our other hashtag Insane Friends that participate in the live calendar almost every night of the week, every night except for Friday, which we may soon have somebody on Friday. Just don't know. Right now, Wednesday night, you're at hashtag Insane Friends on Sane Enterprises. And right after us comes on the Muscle Car Appraisal channel at 9 p.m. And they do have muscle car trivia like we have on Sundays on our Sane Auto channel. We have muscle car trivia. Well, we have all kind of car trivia, not just muscle cars. If they don't have a live, they usually have a premiere of one of their videos, so you can interact with them in the chat during the premiere of the video. Thursday nights, it is Dorito and the Lucha Cabra broadcasting out of California. It is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's around 6 o'clock in California. Followed by Easy 2, tips, tricks, etc., 10 or 10:30. And it goes on till midnight Eastern Standard Time. That starts at around 7 o'clock California time. Then Saturday, you have Chopper's Rule 1 at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He is broadcasting out of Australia, so it is actually around Sunday morning at that time.
Tiny, whiny.
Yep.
That's like Doctor Who stuff there.
Saturday night at 9 p.m. is Fab Automotive Detailing. And then on Sunday, every third Sunday of the month, is Tim Bearden channel. He runs Hot Rod Madness. His channel name is Tim Bearden at 4:30. Then Sane Auto, our other channel, at 7:30 p.m. We do the same thing. We start out the same way we do here, but we do the car trivia after the announcements. Then go over to Gregory Salvatore's channel at 9 p.m. for his live. Monday night, it is Etard Adventures, broadcasting out of Chattanooga, Tennessee at 9 p.m. And Tuesday night, Bubsification, also in Chattanooga, Tennessee at 9 p.m. And then you come all the way back here to Wednesday night at 7:30 on the Sane Enterprises channel. Hello, Dennis, reviewing Plane and More RPM in Canada.
How you doing?
I bet the weather is nice up there right now.
Stuff to talk about tonight.
Right after I announced the car shows and cruise-ins, though this is not a car channel, but we do like supporting the charities that they support. So we'll just go over June. June is the 8th is the Disabled American Veterans Cruise-In at Bradley Square Mall in Cleveland, Tennessee from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. That is Saturday, the 8th of June.
Yay.
There's also a downtown Ringgold cruise in. Both of these occur every second Saturday of the month. And so whether you are in Cleveland, Tennessee, near the Bradley Square Mall, or in North Georgia, near Ringgold, there's always some good family friendly fun, nice people to hang out with. On the 15th of June, there is the West Side Cruise In. It's at 3385 Crider Road, named after my grandmother's family, who used to live there. She was one of the Criders before she married my grandfather, Sane. That is in Rocky Face, Georgia, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., and it does involve the Tractor Club. There is the 22nd of June is Cars for Kids show in Camp Jordan Arena. And Ken Davis is involved in that. You might remember him from being involved in the Black Bear Festival. This is their 5th annual Cars for Kids show. It goes from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Then in the Walker County Civic Center on the 29th of June is a car show from 2 to 6 to benefit Braden Cordell and his family to help with their medical expenses for this 8-year-old boy that has a chromosomes abnormality. There will not only be a car show from 2 to 6, but there's also spaghetti and lasagna dinner for only $6.
That sounds yummy.
And a silent auction and raffles. And there will be the Thomas the Train ride will be there, giving free rides.
I want to go on the train.
I'm willing to film that and put it on the St. Auto channel. And they will also have a bouncy house. So lots of fun for the kids, and hopefully lots of help for the little 8-year-old boy, Braden Cordell, and his family.
Yeah. Well, no more. No more. You said June only.
Yep. June only. This is not our automotive channel. For more about that kind of stuff, check out our Sane Auto channel or our Sane Auto Facebook page. That's where we do all the automotive stuff. Here we are all business and sales and management. So if that's what if you're trying to figure out how to make money online or offline, this is the channel for you to check out. For last month, I'm going to reveal how much we made on our eBay. I have 3 items sitting over there right now that total just a little over $100 for today's sales that I haven't even boxed up yet. And that is a little bit of an increase because we did increase the amount of items and the amount of listings that we did recently because I was done with some other things that were distracting me from the eBay store. We had, while I was distracted.
Well, if you don't get notifications for St. Auto, you need to go over there and recheck that bell.
Yeah.
That is YouTube being up to its old tricks again.
Yeah, and I've got to do that frequently with several people's channels. And strangely enough, with Camaro Times channel, no matter how many times I hit that bell, and I have literally hit it over 100 times. I did it over 24 times in 2 days one time, and it just won't stick. It just won't stay clicked for me to give me notifications from his channel. And other people's, it'll stay for a while, and then I have to click it again, and it'll stay for a while, and I have to click it again. And some people's, I click the channel like one time, click the bell like one time, and it gives me every notification. So I don't know what the YouTube problem is with that, but it would be nice if they would fix that.
Or they do it on purpose.
I'm not sure what's going on with that. I think it's just that these algorithms and stuff they build are far, far, far from perfect. So the eBay store, beginning of May, I had over 1,400 items spread out over 347 listings. And that totaled $37,000 worth of inventory. What we profited that month so far from having $37,000 worth of listings on there was $1,500. So I haven't done the math on that to see what percentage that is, because it does go up and down and it's not completely consistent with how much inventory we have on there. But what I can tell you is that if you do want to make more than $1,500 a month, good sense will tell you list more than $37,000 worth of items, and don't list the kind of items I do, because the kind of items I list are slow moving. If you have a better for eBay type inventory, like a lot of people do shoes, a lot of people do clothing and stuff, and specialty clothing, not just any kind of clothing, the kind of certain stuff that they know a lot about. Some people do jackets and stuff like that. And, if you're into kind of things like that, some people do. I know I met with a guy the other day that does Hot Wheels, and there's no way I could possibly learn in a year all the stuff he knows about those things. So if there's something that you know that much about, then I would encourage you to do well. And Dennis knows a lot about computer stuff. I would encourage him to do computer stuff if he's going to sell stuff on eBay. He knows a lot about that. Do something that you know a lot about. The inventory that I've got is slow moving stuff, but I know a lot about these items. And no matter what kind of inventory you're putting on your eBay store or your Amazon store or your Etsy store or whatever it is, stick to something you know. And if you want to make more money per month than you are, list more items. Do the work. Do the hard work. And we did that. So this month, we're starting the month out with, now instead of 1,400 items, I have over 1,924 items. It's spread out over 379 listings instead of 347. And this took some work, because some of those other 347 items went away because some of them were one-off items. And when they went, the listing went too. So some of those 1,400 items sold. Some of them took listings away with them because they were only one-off items. And so I had to build that back and then build on top of it to get us up to 1,924 items and 379 listings. Now, that brings us to a whopping $69,000 worth of inventory on the eBay starting this month. Like I said, we started out with 37,000 last month. We're starting with 69,000 this month. So we'll see how it goes. And keep watching these lives every Wednesday night if you want to see, what the results are of that increase in our eBay listings. If you want to see what the numbers look like next month.
Picking. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the chat. So that brings us to last month, $1,500 off of the eBay, but we also made $105 off our other YouTube channel. We made $15 off our affiliate links. Doesn't sound like much, but every bit helps. And that brought us to a grand total of $1,620. On some of our other investments, we made another $500, which brings the grand total for online stuff, $2,120.
Online only.
Yep, online only, because no way we could survive off of just that. So, I encourage you, if you have a job outside or any kind of business, brick and mortar type business, or, other than internet business. People take offense to saying real world business, because, hey, if it's real money, it's real money, and I get that, but I don't know what else to call it. Real world business or online business. So or brick and mortar business. And sometimes when I say brick and mortar business, people think I'm talking about actual bricks and mortar, and it's not. That's not what I'm talking about. Either way, online only, 2,120. So we'll be going over this again in about 4 weeks and revealing how it went with the additional. Moving on to the Zig Ziglar stuff. We've been reviewing some of the Zig Ziglar because she does have a assistant at work that she's training in sales. And so, you know, the best when you're training somebody in sales, I do encourage you to brush up on your own sales. Make sure you're training them right.
Oh my goodness.
And Zig Ziglar and Stephen Covey and a couple other greats, but those are a couple of my favorites that I listened to and read their books over and over and over again from when I was 19 and I started getting really serious about business. And I'd been knocking on doors trying to get work since I was 8. But when I really started trying to learn what I was doing and do it correctly so that my businesses wouldn't grow and fall apart like they had been when I was a kid and teenage years, I was 19 years old and I started listening to Zig Ziglar and Stephen Covey and some other guys. By the time I was 35, I was a millionaire. So I do encourage you to find somebody that you like that and listen to them.
I find that Zig Ziglar is clearer, more entertaining. Since he came first, I think that he's the one that I listen to the most, because I identify more with what he says.
Yeah, I think that
and
right
the
there.
Other people that I've seen are just, to me, they just seem like they're regurgitating what he said.
Well, I like that what you said about identify. One of the things that identify so well with him is one of my favorite, brings me to one of my favorite quotes by Zig Ziglar. It says, "You will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want." And I think that attitude right there, that attitude right there, you know, really resonates with me and makes it a lot easier to learn from him because it aligns with some of my core values. I lost the chat here.
It's right here.
Oh, you got it right there. Okay.
Since you are watching, you need to like it too.
I do.
Yeah. You need to find it.
Find my chat here.
There you go.
And hit the like.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Anybody else had any experience with Zig Ziglar or any other sales or management training or anything like that?
I can tell you about what I did today a little bit. I got the 5, what is it? The 5 principles of selling.
The 5 rules of selling by Zig Ziglar.
Okay, the 5 rules of selling by Zig Ziglar. And I went over those with my assistant. Played the whole thing for her. We talked about it in between. We listened to his stories. I told her a few of my own. And the one that kind of stuck out in her mind was the one where I was in Peru, because she was born in South America. And I was in Peru. Across the street from where I lived was an office building that had a mining company in it. Well, one day the miners went on strike. we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miners across the street from me, spilling off into the street, in my yard, in my neighbor's yard, all the way up and down my street, blocking my road, violently with their pickaxes, stomping around in people's gardens and tearing up bushes and just generally acting crazy. My son was terrified. He didn't know what to do. Well, me being the businesswoman that I am, I went in the kitchen, tried to figure out what they would want. What could I give them to keep them from tearing up my home, breaking my windows? Well, I made my son write a sign that said egg sandwiches, 1 sol, which is the equivalent of $1 here, and coffee, 50 cents. I had some bread and some eggs in the refrigerator, so I started making fried egg sandwiches, which is something that they really enjoy in Peru. And I started making cups of coffee to keep them calm. Well,
And I like that you were making money at it too, making friends with them and making money at the same time.
Well, I opened my front window, stuck out the sign, lines started to form. I ran out of bread and eggs. Well, because I started this business right there on the spot, the miners opened a space in my front yard. And there were like guards guarding my yard and letting people in line and keeping that line orderly. I didn't hire them to do it. They did it on their own.
They just automatically did it.
I sent my son with 6 of them circling him to keep him safe against the onslaught of the crowds, to get more eggs and bread and coffee and milk and avocado and other things so I could make more sandwiches, different sandwiches. And I made about 1,000 soles or 2,000 soles that day off of just sandwiches and coffee, in the hopes that they would not destroy my home.
Because you figured out something that they wanted.
They had not eaten in 2 days.
Something that they wanted or needed.
Because they were on the bus coming to Lima from outside of Lima.
And made it affordable.
So that was the most memorable story she took away.
You got to constantly be looking for opportunities.
And I said, that's prospecting.
Not only is it prospecting, but it reminds me of another quote from Zig Ziglar, and that is, if you don't see yourself as a winner, then you cannot perform as a winner. Well, you obviously saw yourself as a winner, as an entrepreneur at that point, and you thought within that mindset of what can I do here with this situation
to turn it in my favor.
To turn it in your favor, yes. To take something bad and turn it into something good. And you got to see yourself as the winner of that situation in order to make that happen. And this is not an arrogant thing, because arrogance is destructive. It's a confidence thing. And you want to turn a bad situation into a good situation is not necessarily conquering it, but you do turn out winner. And if you get a mindset of making every deal a win-win deal, which is another thing that Zig Ziglar talks about, and Stephen Covey talks about that too. That's why I like both of those guys. They talk about win-win deals and win-win arrangements. This was a win-win arrangement that you came up with. And so, and coming up with win-win arrangements with people makes people like you. It gives them something that they need or want.
And that's how I got my home protected.
So if you're always looking for a win-win deal, that's another thing that's confident, not arrogant, because looking for a win-lose all the time is arrogant. It's arrogant to think that you can go around cultivating deals that somebody else always loses and you always win, and not end up having consequences for that at some point. All bad habits have consequences eventually to somebody, and all good habits have rewards. And so, putting together win-win deals and win-win arrangements is a good habit. Win-lose or lose-win is also a bad habit. Lose-win, coming up with lose-win arrangements where you lose and everybody wins, just for the sake of making friends, is not only you're cheating yourself, but you cheat your family that counts on you. And it has those negative consequences for your family that counts on you and yourself, and all the people that you could have helped that you can't help because you essentially went around and helped people take advantage of you. So that's no way to go either. You got to do win-win. And sometimes if you know you're going to have to negotiate, you got to start out with going for a win-lose, knowing that you're going to settle for a win-win in order to get that win-win arrangement.
Well, now I told you my story, but I want to tell you my favorite Zig Ziglar story.
Okay.
Okay, he was in, I'm not sure what part of South Carolina or North Carolina, and he lived in the opposite direction, the opposite part of the state. And he was going home, and he was speeding. He was going so fast that a policeman pulled him over. And he was just talking to the policeman, and the policeman almost let him go, but he had
already called it in. I think I remember this story, yeah.
And, well, he couldn't, but he did say that he would let him pay the fine on Monday when he was headed back to work.
Right, so he wouldn't have to make a special trip.
So he wouldn't have to make a special trip, and he wouldn't get hung up in jail or anything. Well, he went to the courthouse to pay his fine, and there was this young lady, and he saw her little diamond ring because she was getting married. And he said, the first thing he said was, well, are you saving any money here? And she says, why, of course I am. And he says, well, that's good. Now, would you buy something very beautiful that you would use forever? That would supply your need forever?
Yeah, and I remember this story verbatim. I can't remember word for word, but he, of course, had his presentation, his pitch ready and word for word, very well practiced, in case he run across somebody like that looked like they might be a good prospect.
First of all,
he made a really good
pitch for
presentation
a single
right then
woman
there.
that was building her hope chest, and couples.
Plus, he had
married couples.
If I remember right, at the time he was selling cookware.
Yes, I didn't want to give that away yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, anyway, he asked the girl if she had a few seconds, a few minutes, that she could look at what he had to offer.
And being the great preparation master that he is, he had samples in his car at the time,
And
ready,
she said,
prepared for success at all times.
and she said, yes, of course.
Some people aren't prepared at all. Some people are prepared for disaster. So they'll have the make sure their spare is there, make sure all their tools are there, make sure they have this and that in case of disaster. But it's another level entirely if that you need to reach if you're going to be very successful, to be not only prepared for disaster but be prepared for success as well.
Well, can we
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you.
all right, now, so he went out and she said yes, of course. She was about to go on a break, so she had some time. And he said, well, would you mind me showing you this wonderful, beautiful thing that you will use for the rest of your life, or that will fulfill a need for the rest of your life? And she said, well, that would be okay. And he bought in his sample case, and he showed her what he had, and the girl was impressed. And he said, now, he looked at the older lady who happened to be looking at the presentation as well, and he said to her, well, madam, knowing what you know now 10 years later, if you had had the opportunity that this young girl has now, would you not have taken it 10 years ago? Yes, I would have, says the lady. And he turns back to the younger girl and he says, that being said, I know you are going to take this opportunity, are you not? And she said, yes, yes, I am. And he turns back to the lady, the older lady, and he says, just because you did not have the opportunity 10 years ago does not mean this is not, you don't need to miss out on this opportunity. So you are going to make the same order as well, aren't you?
That's classic Zig right
and
there.
And the lady says, yes, yes, I am. And he walked out selling both of those ladies a wonderful cookware set. And on his way out of town, he stopped that policeman to thank him and shake his hand because he made the 2 sales. So, what is the moral of that story? Always take the opportunities available.
Always be networking, always be prospecting, and always be prepared for success. There's many, many lessons in that. Almost every story that Zig tells has so many sales lessons in it. If you just look deep into what, he's saying, his experiences in the past, and there's the reason why some of those sales he has committed to memory, everything that happened, and recounting those stories. And a lot of us have those stories and sales that we've done, but we haven't committed them to memory or gone as far as Zig and wrote them down in books and stuff that he's done and sold. But maybe we need to. Maybe we need to start writing down our own stories, our own success stories from our own sales and our own business, so that we can not only remember those victories, but also recount them to people, whether it be our children or our employees or our co-workers, to help them get better at stuff too.
Now, another thing, when you come to that point in the sale when you have to overcome the objections, there's always going to be an objection or two. You call that, instead of calling it an objection, you call it a
concern,
because an objection
or
is
a question, depending on the situation, how the customer is presenting it. You use the word question or concern or something like that when you're discussing
the word objection
with the customer or in
customer.
But you use the word objection with other salespeople and in sales training, but never with the customer.
So you would state it. I hear your concern. I understand your concern.
Well, yeah, and you try to repeat it back to them in your own words so that you can confirm to them that you did actually listen
and understand
to their concern.
Now,
and if you did get something wrong or something misunderstood about what their concern, or since this is a sales presentation, their objection, then you can get that clarified right then and there before you actually answer the objection or answer the concern or the question, and you can answer it more correctly and get more of a consensus with your customer and have less misunderstandings. Because what does it profit you to get one sale with a misunderstanding and then later on lose that sale and all future sales? It doesn't. You want to not only get that sale, but you also want to get that sale in a way that you see that person later on, you're still friends, and you're not avoiding anybody. You're actually glad to see them again, and they're glad to see you too. And then you can do another thing that Zig and a lot of other people talk about that is great, because it really is true and it works. You can approach that person later and you can ask them, how happy they are with whatever it was you sold them. And when they say yes, you can, whoever they're with, you can ask them to introduce you to that person and ask them right there in front of that other person if they're still happy enough with what you sold them that you would be willing to recommend it to this other person. And they'll sit there and recommend you and your product to that person right there in front of you. Future sales, instead of, like if you're shady and you know it, don't clap your hands because you're not going to win anything.
Oh, not me.
You're going to be avoiding these people.
Not me.
And they're not going to recommend you, and you're not going to get to be able to do that.
Okay, now
another great quote I like from Zig Ziglar is, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time.
What about if you learn from defeat, you haven't really lost?
That's even better. Even better, because if you make a mistake in a sale, that's another thing too. If you take this relationship selling approach and this honest win-win approach to selling, and you make a mistake and you don't get a sale, stuff like that, you can learn from it. You can use the other technique that I have written on my dry erase board over here. It says, what did I do right and what could I do better? And that's a good question for you to ask yourself every day and at the end of every sale. If you're still doing face-to-face selling stuff, then you ask yourself that at the end of every sale, what did I do right and what could I do better, whether you get the sale or not. And if you're not doing a lot of face-to-face selling, or if you've only had one sales presentation that day, doesn't matter. You should still at least go over that question at least once a day at the end of your day. What did I do right and what could I do better? And do it in that order. What did I do right? You need to have a positive self-image, and you need to reinforce that positive self-image, because certainly you did several things right during the day. And
look at this.
you need to remember
look at
that
this
and
person.
reinforce that.
He is so incredibly awesome.
And then, you know, what could I do better? Not what could I do, what did I do wrong, but what could I do better? Because you don't want to be thinking about what did I do wrong, because there's always something you can do better. When none of us are perfect, none of us should have a, well, I guess there have been some perfect days.
You're perfect.
You're
perfect. Nobody thinks
but all you're looking for is
on my cutie, sweetie.
Is improvement.
You can't pick on him either. T. Oh, I don't like that girl.
So hopefully, you know, if we continue to do that same, answering that same question every live that we do, every time we do one of these lives, every time we do the Sunday live, every time we do our videos and stuff, we can continue to improve those and make those better.
Well, I don't know about that.
I put a link in here to one of my favorite Ziglar books, and I will be putting a couple of links to Ziglar's products in there in the description when we finish this live. I have several of them myself. I have I have some of his books, but most of his stuff I have on CD, so I can put it in the car. For those long drives, I can listen to him instead of the mindless same 7 songs that they play over and over and over again on the radio. And
or the stupid
terrible bad news.
On
the news is so negative. Yeah, and it just wears you down and brings you down. But things like Zig Ziglar's CDs can really, you know, counteract that, because he's very positive, very hopeful. Well, one thing that I've gotten out of the habit of doing that I really need to do on the lives and the videos and stuff, and I encourage you, if you're doing a YouTube channel as well, to do the same thing. Another thing that I've noticed he doesn't talk about, but you can watch him if you watch some of his videos. You watch the man, and he physically smiles while he's talking. And when you physically smile while you're talking, your voice sounds different. It sounds better, and it sounds more welcoming. It also sounds more energetic.
Yeah.
So
listen to me. I'm not smiling. You can tell I'm not smiling. I don't look happy. I don't seem friendly. I don't seem open. But if I smile, I feel bubbly, and people like me because they like to see me smile and feel my energy, and it energizes them, and it calls them to action.
And in martial arts, they call that giving the gi. And if you give the gi or the chi, depending on whether you know, you're training under a Japanese master or a Korean master, then you're giving energy, and that makes a huge difference. You know, people like to share in your energy, and they like to see that energy, and they like to experience that. That's what makes rock stars so famous, is the energy that they project out in the crowd, you know. And even they may not even be all positive, but the amount of energy that they give out is valuable, and people like that. So if you can do that, like what Zig does, is make it all positive energy, and then it's even better. And it made him the rock star of sales training.
Well, what I do when I'm on the phone, I pretend that I am talking to my best friend. That person on the other end of the phone I start out Mr. or Mrs. Jones. By the time I hang up, I'm calling her Betty and or Joan. It's very important to get to that point quickly in a sales call. And they're decidedly, at the end of the conversation, they are sad to hang up. And I always have trouble getting off the phone with a client because they are sad to get off the phone.
Dale Carnegie has a lot of really good stuff on public speaking and sales and business. And he's another one that talks a lot about smiling.
When you're in front of a large group of people, imagine them in their underwear. You won't be afraid of them anymore. Okay, go.
Do they have print of Harley Davidsons on their underwear or Spider-Man?
That is up to your imagination. I usually see none the Batman panties.
Okay, great. Okay, another quote from Zig Ziglar that I find very interesting and very true. People don't buy for logical reasons. Now, this works face-to-face and online selling.
And on the phone.
And on the phone. People don't buy for logical reasons. They buy for emotional reasons. Now, I would say there's a balance, and it's the 80-20 rule applies here. It's 80% emotion, 20% logic.
Yeah, well, in insurance, it's a crapshoot. They buy it because it's mandated by law. They buy it because they have a loan.
But even in insurance, if you look at the insurance commercials and videos and stuff, it's all about emotions. It's all yeah, and they want them to choose the company. And yes, it's all about emotion. Even pharmaceutical companies do this too. They show people frolicking on the beach and stuff like that and having a great time. Soda commercials.
At the bottom of the pharmaceutical company's commercial, it has this side effect, that side effect. You better read the fine print. It's not all fun and games at the beach, people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of leakage.
Yeah, you don't take a pill and become a teenager frolicking on the beach. But that's the way they present it, and that's an emotional thing. And think about one of the most successful
beer commercials.
Coca-Cola commercials ever.
You drink a beer,
the
you
hands
don't
around the world
get
thing.
Buff and have 5 women falling on you. You drink beer. Mm-hmm. You get a beer belly and
all kinds of health problems.
You don't get
same thing with sodas. Same thing with sodas. You drink sodas, you don't suddenly end up holding hands with a bunch of people from around the world singing, happy songs. And peace and love all over the world. You end up with diabetes and heart disease and all kinds of other stuff that the sugar in it gives you.
What? That's it. I'm done with beer then. High five, dude.
All right. We've made a positive difference in the world. Positive change in the health of somebody we care about. So.
Yay! Our work is done.
He's switching to red wine now.
We can. That would kill me. I'm allergic.
Even we're struggling with the sugar thing because it is an addiction like like everything else, and it's a poison. And anything
We have this many
sugar and
minutes
carbs.
left.
We do 5 minutes left. All right. Any questions?
Any questions, comments? Anybody want to say anything? I'm waiting. I'll answer any questions. Except I won't tell you how tall I am and what my natural hair color is. He knows, but he won't tell anybody.
You know, a lot of us start thinking that we're done with face-to-face sales when we start having success with the whether it be eBay or Amazon
eBay
or anything.
Shipping is not bad because you get an eBay discount.
Well, if you've got, like we do with the top seller status and the super seller status and stuff like that. But it's really hard to get and keep that top seller status. And I tell you, one of the secrets that I have of being able to have it and keep it is that one of the things they don't make you aware of, or they very poorly make you aware of on eBay, is if you don't use their shipping thing where you print the labels right there on eBay, then you only do that 2 or 3 times in a month or two, and they take your top seller status away, or they won't give you top seller status. Either way, you got to be using that. And I made a video about this. I don't remember what the name of the thing is called. That's one of the reasons why I made a video out of it. The little thing where you click on there to do your eBay.
And I don't think you would have to
sell
the entire computer. You could source the components and sell the components.
Yeah, that's what I would do. If I had your knowledge about computers, I would get, I'd be going around to every thrift store everywhere. I'd be driving through affluent neighborhoods and see what computers they throw out. And I'd be gathering up all of these older computers and taking them apart and identifying the internal components and organizing them the way that I do with transmission parts on my eBay thing, and testing them as best I could, packaging them and shelving them in a protected way so that they don't get messed up. Yeah, and selling the crap out of those on eBay. Those are even more shippable than what I ship because they're not as heavy, and most of them are not as big as the components, and they're certainly not greasy and sharp and dirty and dangerous like the parts that I handle. And I've got a few computer parts of my own here and a few old computers, but I don't have the knowledge that you do about those things to go through them.
Door stops at this point.
Well, you'd be surprised at how many people go after that kind of stuff, because some people have small businesses with 3 or 4 computers networked together, and they have these older programs that won't work on the new computers. And if they replaced one computer, they're going to have to upgrade all of the computers, and they don't want to go through all that crap. I did that myself for years, from early 2000s to the late 2000s. I kept 3 really old computers going for an extra 5 years beyond when I should have replaced them, because I didn't want to have to upgrade everything just because I upgraded one computer. And that's what would have happened if I'd and eventually did. I eventually did end up upgrading, but when I did, I had to replace everything. I had to replace all the computers, and I had to buy all new programs too, because my old programs were outdated. And as long as those things were working, you know, it's like, well, your assistant at work, she don't want to give up her phone because she don't want to have to transfer all the information over and stuff. She don't want to have to go through all that. And that's just one phone. Imagine these small businesses have 3, 4, 5 computers. They just don't, they want to keep those old ones going. They'd rather fix this one over here one month, fix this other one the other month, and keep it going and keep those old programs. They don't want to have to retrain on all those new programs and stuff that they would have to buy. And so, you know, and you can do a certain amount of upgrading to those old computers as well without having to upgrade them so much that you have to upgrade every single one of them or replace every single one of them. And so there is a market for some of these older computer components, just like there's a market for these older transmission parts.
I think Shelly, more than not switching to the new phone, it's more a thing of money, and she didn't want to say.
Well, and I think it probably both, because I've been there when she said something about not wanting to port all her information over and all that kind of stuff. I've been there. I've done that too. Delayed changing a phone because I don't want to change my contacts and stuff. And every time I've done it, every time I've upgraded to a new phone and I ported my contacts over,
he said,
I got
really
most of them. But later on, I start going through there and I notice some of
the lady behind the desk, and you say,
yeah, but inevitably
you pay them $50
something's missing
extra and get it switched over.
Well,
or you take one of these little doing me bobbies,
the mini SD cards.
Yeah. And then you put that in there and you get it through there.
Yeah, there's always something lost though. It's like moving. Stuff gets lost.
Well, anyway,
you move from one computer to another and stuff gets lost.
It is time for us to get off of here to let the next live come on.
One of my favorite videos on reviewing, playing, and more is where he's explaining how to download all that stuff off of your hard drive before replacing or upgrading to another hard drive.
There's a program that's called Switch.
Yep.
And it will do all of the switching for the phones.
And that's why we need channels like his, so people can go on there and find that information out and use those programs like me and be able to do that. And then you can go ahead and upgrade.
Could give tips and
people not watching this, people that don't know that, and people that's never seen his video, they're still stuck, you know, thinking, and it's true for them, that if they upgrade, they're going to lose stuff. And the reason it's true for them is because they don't know about the Switch program, and they don't know how to use it if they do know about it, unless they go on Reviewing, Playing, and More RPM's channel and watch his video and be able to click on his link and get the Switch program and let him show them how to use it.
Promoting the channels in our group.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why we do that. And that's another thing that, you know,
outside of YouTube, not people inside YouTube. People that I meet who I think need to read something.
Well, and that's why we've got a Twitter account and stuff like that, and the Facebook pages, the Sane Enterprises Facebook page, the Sane Auto Facebook page, the Dalton Car Scene page, the Car Shows and Cruisers of North Georgia page, those kind of pages, so that we can, you know, shout out these people and get the word out and share our videos and let them share their videos and stuff like that, because it's like Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough other people, you can get whatever you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And, you know, and people want to be able to upgrade their stuff, transfer their stuff over, or keep their old stuff going, that sort of thing. And if that's what they want and you help them get that, you know, then good things are going to come back to you. You know, you're putting good out there in the world, good things are going to come back to you.
Okay, well, we have to go, and I'm going to say it. Do not get off the couch and get dirty. That's not
this channel.
This channel.
Yeah, that's not this channel.
That's what I was going to say. This is not this channel.
And I was going to say it with you. And then you stopped.
Don't get dirty. That's not this channel. See?
No, this channel, we are wishing all our hashtags insane friends, hashtag insane growth.
This big. This week.
Thank you all for coming and hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing you again next week, 7:30 Wednesday night or 7:30 Sunday on St. Auto.
Yay! Bye!